Hi, intrepid viewers. I just realized my sound was too high. You can see I've kept up my elevated production values for this channel. Yes, it's a sarong over the television. I don't want you to be distracted by Latin American soccer while we're talking. Okay, so this is all about November. But before I get into it, a couple of things. One of the more hilarious things I've heard of ever was Eric Trump's testimony. He wasn't really involved with the money of the company, Trump Org. No, he was pouring concrete. Is that not laughable? I know quite a few concreters, and trust me, Eric wouldn't be taken on by any of them for a 10-minute slot. You know, it's a hardcore field of work. Those guys really work. And as we know, neither the Yeti or his demon spawn have actually ever done a day's work. They just shuffle money around, which is evident from these court cases. So I can say it now on YouTube. Now, while I'm shuffling, one more digression, which has to be about the new Speaker of the House. What is it with these Christo-fascist, evolution-denying, dinosaur-denying, flat earthers? How can educated people in the United States emerge from a tertiary education and have these ideas that were outdated 500 years ago? I mean, Galileo, please, spare me. So anyway, we're going to push on with November. So I'm going to do 5 cards for each week and see what's in store. Okay, so we're going for week 1, November. Now, before we leave the Speaker of the House, let's put out a collective prayer at the end of this video that some footage comes out of him emerging from a motel with an underage girl or boy. I don't particularly care, because I actually don't believe these sex-obsessed, holier-than-thou people really maintain these values. I mean, he's got the morals of a piranha, at least if you're female. Ugh, hideous creature. Okay, off we go with week 1, November. October will take a bit of beating. But I'm still so wet from the rain. Sorry. Had to do an emergency run for empanadas. Okay, here we go. Week 1, November. Off and running. Oh, and it is off and running. Oof. All right, I'd have to describe week 1 as a mixed bag. I think this is our future going forward. There'll be wins, you know, and some losses, like that man being made head of Congress, 3rd in line for presidency. Stop it, Lena, just deal with it. Okay, so I think week 1 will go flying out of the blocks with this energy, but this energy can be a bit out of control. I think this is more likely to be an explosion from MTG or someone on that side of the fence. This is not rational stuff. The swords can be very rational, but the Knight of Swords, known for being impulsive, and there's a ruthlessness to this card. The obstacle, isn't this interesting? Celebration being in the obstacle position. So it's the equivalent of it being upside down. So it's like we should be celebrating something, but then the shine's taken off it for some reason, you know, probably like the gag order, and the Yeti gets another fine, some mealy-mouthed little petty fine that an 8-year-old could pay out of their money box in comparison with the rest of us, you know. So there is celebration, but a bit of a shadow over it. Deals are being made. I'm going to do a clarifier on this, because is this deals between the satanic GOP or across the aisle, or what? Or are the Dems doing something significant? Let me just do a quick clarifier. Okay. Is this GOP or Dems or cross? GOP or Dems? The Empress here. So with the Empress, this is a bit of a win for women here. I think we're going to see some sort of victory, probably some sort of legal victory, maybe someone who's had a legal case in the works for ages comes through with a victory. There'll be some good news. But then these absolute arch hypocrites come into play by the end of week one. What's his face? Mike Johnson, I think, will be instrumental in heading up some other repressive nonsense that's allegedly advocating family values. Now, we all know that family values is code for white families with 2.5 children. Or in the case of Mike Johnson, he and his wife adopted a black child who mysteriously does not appear in any of the biographies or whatever. He did have the grace to say his black son had a lot more difficulty growing up in Louisiana than his white son, so he's not totally oblivious. But this is some wretched thing put forth. Be ready, end of week one, after a bit of a victory. I did say it'd be mixed. There'll be something really Handmaid's Tale. So at least being forewarned. Okay, so we're going to move on to week two now. Let me just split the cards, giving them a good mix here. Good mix. So, yeah. The next thing we have to look at is the budget ceiling. You know, they're committed to more tax cuts for billionaires. The Dems are just sitting on this, just keep talking about tax cuts for billionaires, tax cuts for billionaires. You're paying more and they're paying less. There's something fundamentally wrong with this, please. Okay, let's have a look. Week two. Week two, November. It's sprinting to the end of the year, isn't it, troops? Oh, okay. So, oh, the Empress came up again. I did a lot of shuffling there, women's stuff, and the challenge. Okay. I think things are going to get a bit crazy in week two, I have to say. This, to me, is a direct flow over from week one. This issue about women, she's pregnant, the Empress, it's probably about pregnancy. He's one of those birth begins at conception. I mean, really, next it'll be, you know, life begins with a stain on the bedroom sheets. You know, where do you take it? You know, like this madness. I'm seeing a bit of pushback by women. This could be organised in the form of Planned Parenthood or on the streets. Bring back the pussy hats. I beg you, American women, bring back the pussy hats. They are scheming. I've got to have a gulp of coffee here. They're scheming, planning, getting their ducks in a row, probably so they can shoot them like a shooting gallery of ducks. I mean, they know nothing else but destruction. But They're being more methodical. Don't like that. In fact, I hate that. But they are being more methodical. More legal stuff. This could be Judge Chutkan. Oh, I digress. So, the Yeti, who loves television, as we know, has been formally given notification by Judge Chutkan asking if he agrees to his trial being televised. Now, I'm sure the lawyers will be throwing themselves in front of him saying, no, don't do it. It'll be really interesting. But I think it's even more important. I think it's a matter of justice itself. And as the political pundits and the legal pundits have been saying, like Glenn Kirshner and others, the American people deserve to see this act out. If there are not television cameras for the Jack Smith case, that's a problem for America, because the prosecution people don't talk. Jack Smith will just come out every day like Mueller at the end of amazing testimony and just go, and who will fill the space? Alex Jones, Fox, and Yeti. You know, it's really important that the televised trial goes ahead. It'll be interesting if he says no, will it not? Can someone let me know in the comments? I know there's some legal people out there. I'm calling Michael here. In particular, can one side decide or the judge can decide? I want to know. But it's going to end up in a maniacal end of week 2. It could be various people howling at the moon, howling for mercy, or it could be us going, I cannot believe these people. We thought we were over the worst, but they're madder than ever. And they are. MAGA has taken over Congress, and there's no bounds to the madness. Okay, so week 2. Okay, let me put those cards back. I leave Argentina tomorrow, starting my 23-hour flight to Australia. I bet you wish you could come for that, don't you? 23 hours. Okay. Week 3, November. What will it bring us? What will it bring the USA? Week 3, November. Let's have a look. Ah, I love that. Oh, that's good. We're not used to good news. I'll just take a moment to absorb that. Oh, and then Jack Smith. Oh, bless. So we're up to week 3. The mega queen of the legals. This is the justice card, major arcana. This is the big stuff coming on board. Okay, we love this. The challenge, you know, they challenge everything. Okay, but I think this is one of the cases, or this might be a Supreme Court thing. This card looks like Ruth Bader Ginsburg 40 years earlier. And my card of what's positive about America in every way. So when I see these cards together, I'm thinking Supreme Court. Could the Supreme Court make a decent decision? Imagine that. The shock. We'll have to get champagne just for that. Could be. Could be. Over it is the King of Wands. Now, I think in this context, it could be Trump himself putting pressure on the Supreme Court, or it could be a mega donor putting pressure on the Supreme Court. How can that happen? Well, you know, and I think all this, in fairness to the Yeti. All this big donor stuff predates all of that. The rot set in. Really, if I had my way, same in Australia, I'd say each candidate gets $1 million flat rate from the government. That's it, no more. Let's see how good you are. Yeah, but this has a powerful donor vibe. It's not a Pentacles card with the money, it's about power. Outcome of week 3, Jack Smith's going to make a move. Don't forget, we've got the whole of next year to go. These cases will only be starting in March and April and things, but he's got the wand in his hand. He's reaching for the sword. He's had enough. I think he's spitting chips now, even though he's calm by nature. Expect a significant development from Jack Smith himself or the team, end of week 3. Now, end of week 4, which is my birthday, I'm sure there's a few Saggies out there. Hello, greeting, fellow Saggies. Let's have a look at the end of November. So much going on. Okay. So I think the judges are doing a pretty good job under extreme stress, but their work's only started too. Let's see. Okay. Week 4, what can we expect? Last week of November. November. Bit of a hold up in the work. Oh, okay. That's better. Now. Yeah. Look. There's only 5 cards and there's 2 major arcanas and an ace. Week 4 is going to be significant and in a lasting way. You know how yesterday's news just gets catapulted into the back seat because there's more dramas. Okay. For those learning tarot, the Hanged Man, things not moving straight away. Sure. Upside down gives you a new perspective. Sure. But I've added a third critique of the Hanged Man, and that is the willing sacrifice. I think there's going to be someone significant there in the middle of this spread. Sacrifice. Oh, I wonder if it's one of the trumplets. Oh, being sacrificed by the other 2. Wouldn't that be bliss? But there are many options. But just remember, week 4, someone will make a willing sacrifice. Maybe not so willing, but it will appear that they've made the decision. This will be very emotional for everybody. Absolutely everyone. Often a brilliant card, overflowing joy and emotion, but can also be tears and too much emotion, just simply too much emotion right on top of this. So we have that. There will be some action finally taken, or at least a message about actions finally happening in a direction that we can see and touch and smell. This is my Greta Thunberg card. The birds flying off, the raised sword, right? Finally, some overdue action that will bring a celebration right way up this time. Outcome card. Boom, boom. The death. And death of the king. Can you see the Yeti lying there with the crown rolling off? it might be being cut from any Fox support at all or something like that. But when I look at these three, I think this is the actual end of Trump or Trump's power in some way, a significant attack on his power, because the Grim Reaper spares no one. Okay. Well, someone keep tabs on that, please. Let me know how it unfolds, because I forget as soon as I've done these readings and life goes on and get busy. And I'm sure other readers that agree with me, you know, you can do a lot of readings and you forget what you've said and done. And then other times, one thing will stay in your brain for 10 years, you know, so it's a funny business. So guys, the next time you hear from me will be from Australia. So get your toothbrushes ready, pack your overnight bag. We're off to Australia. All my love. Bye for now. Okay. Bye. Ciao.